What's good, gang? What's good, gang? What's good, gang? I hope I sound much better. I don't know, for some odd reason, my input, the speakers on the speaker input on the microphone input rather, on listen, whatever the case was, my mic was sounding really low when I was playing back my videos. And I'm like, why do I sound like that? When I did my initial videos, I sounded loud, clear, and ready to roll. So I had to go and search, and I found what I needed. I hope you guys can hear me loud and clear this time around. So welcome to the review of episode 3 of Chrisean. Sorry, I was calling her Chrisean all the time. Of Chrisean and BlueFace's reality show, Crazy in Love. So, before I start off, if you have not seen my review of episodes 1 and 2, please check them out. And in the process of you checking them out, make sure you subscribe to the channel, you like, you comment, and you share any of my content that might resonate with you, or so on and so forth. But let me get into this review. Because I'm a few days old. What I'm going to try to make sure I do is the show airs on Sundays on Zeus Network. You guys have to get Zeus Network. It is the funniest freaking streaming network showing reality shows. They crack me up. The Zeus Network is worse than VH1. They're off the chain. But in any event, it's very entertaining, which that's what it's meant to be. So, I've been watching Chrisean and BlueFace's reality show Crazy in Love, and I've been reviewing it. It's up to episode number 3, so you guys go check out my review for episodes number 1 and 2, and make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and share. Alrighty, so let's get into it. The name of this episode is called Just Do You. Alrighty, so the episode starts off with as I shared with you in the last review, BlueFace and Chrisean's family had got into a physical altercation. The Zeus Network was trying to break it up. The hotel security was trying to break it up. Everybody was trying to break it up and part them and kind of simmer things down. And, it just was a whole big situation. But in any event, it starts off like with that situation still kind of going on, but it's nearing the end. So you just hear like Chrisean's family popping junk and so on and so forth, right? Then the scene changes, and they're no longer in Baltimore because that's where they was when that's where Chrisean is from. And that's where BlueFace went to meet her family, and that's where the altercation ensued at. In this episode, I'm sorry, you guys. In this episode, they shift gears a little bit, and they're no longer in Baltimore. Now they're in LA, and the show headline reads. Okay, so it was clearly something in the headlines that took place with BlueFace and his antics and how he know how to ignite Chrisean and have her lose her damn mind because that's what he's into. Like I said, they're the new age Stevie J and Jocelyn. But in any event, social media video pops up in it says social media pops up. Video pops up with BlueFace and another woman. Chrisean says she's single now. Then you see Chrisean on what appears to be live, and she's telling the people how BlueFace be sleeping with broke bees, and just going off on him and how none of them bees he be messing with her on has some money and yada yada yada, right? And then she tweets, "Y'all can have him. Chrisean Rock is single," and then she tweets, "Chrisean, you are enough." In that moment, right? Again, I feel extremely bad for Chrisean. Do I feel like Chrisean is a victim in this? No, I think she's a willing participant, but there's still parts of me that just feel bad for her. But anyway, she tweets that. Then BlueFace tweets, "I ain't never been single. I always kept a couple." Then Chrisean tweets, "You gonna wish you kept this one." And then they show Rock, which is Chrisean, being dropped off at a hair salon, which I think also doubles as like a clothing boutique. And When they dropped Chrisean off, Chrisean had on a sports bra. She had on some pom pom shorts, with her butt cheeks hanging out the bottom, and she still did not have her tooth in. Anyway, she heads into this like clothing boutique, aka beauty salon, and the guy's showing her around and all of the clothes that he has. I think he has some like new inventory, and you can see by the stuff that Chrisean is picking up that that's her style. Her style was like pretty much like a bra or a crop top, shorts with like the booty cheeks hanging out. Like that's the way she liked to dress. But in all fairness to Chrisean is a former track star. She's a former track star. And track stars usually dress in athletic gear, which is like sports bras, spandex shorts, things of that nature. So she may just be used to dressing that way from when she used to run track. That's kind of what, I chalk that up to, right? So they getting the hair situation situated, trying to do her hair now after she stopped looking at the clothing boutique clothes. And the lady offered her some liquor and, just trying to get her in the mood to kind of get your hair done, what us girls do at the beauty parlor, especially when we have a good rapport with our beautician. But anyway, then Chrisean gets a phone call. Now, I wasn't really clear who was on this phone. I still don't know who she was on the phone with, but the dialogue started up. And she was just telling the person how the whole situation with BlueFace being seen with another girl, that really hurt her feelings. And, she got pissed off about that whole situation. So what she ended up doing was dropping a sex tape with her and BlueFace. I'm sorry, I didn't no, I didn't get to that part. I didn't say that part. But yeah, she ended up dropping a sex tape with her and BlueFace on it. And I think if I remember when it was in the headlines, BlueFace might have been giving Chrisean oral sex. Like, I don't know. I didn't see the actual tape. I just remember all the conversation surrounding it. I don't want to see that. So that's pretty much that was. So she said she basically just dropped the tape out of spite, just to kind of get up under his skin because it was in response to, the social media back and forth. She felt embarrassed. And, she just wanted him to know, like, don't play with me because I could take it there. I could take it there. And I don't think none of these hoes that you sleeping with could go where I could go. So do not play with me. That was basically the gist of why she was doing all of that, right? And then, she started alluding to the fact that because he does these things, it lets her know that she can't be with him and he's not her boyfriend. They're just friends making money and yada, 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 yada. So the person on the phone is like, listen, girl, is you single or not? You know what I'm saying? Because what's going on? And then Chrisean Rock was like, nah, I love him and we together, but he just got to figure out his life. So I want to pause right here because I see young people do this a lot, right? Because I remember Asian Doll did this when I watched the interview where she talked about King Von. And it's like, we're not, in one sentence they're saying we're together, and then in the other sentence they're saying we're not together, but also we are together. I get if you're saying, listen, he be playing himself, so I'm not going to claim him, but I do still deal with him. I think with them, I'm always your girl, even when you playing me out, disrespecting me. But when I get mad, I gotta say I'm not your girl. I mean, it's what young people do. So I didn't really give that too much energy. It just brought me back to when I watched the Asian Doll interview, and it was like you saying in the same sentence that you're with him, and also saying in the same sentence that you're not, and it would confuse the person that's asking you the question because it's like, I'm sorry, you answered that question with two opposite answers, so I don't know which one is the actual answer, right? So when Chrisean did it, I was like, So then she started saying how all of her money goes to their situation. And, she feels like she needs to be hanging out more and she needs to be getting dressed up. And, she also was saying how BlueFace controls her and like he wants to keep tabs on her and he wants to know where she is. And he's constantly calling her phone and wanting her location on. And, she really don't have a lot of wiggle room to entertain other guys because the way he moves, yada, 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 right? And, she was saying he doesn't allow much wiggle room for her to do her. And meanwhile, he's doing him. And she feels like So she feels she needs to start loosening the leash, so to speak. Basically, like, kind of detaching herself from him and all his rules and regulations. And I don't think Chrisean is mentally capable and emotionally capable from detaching herself from BlueFace on her own. I don't think that's something that she could wake up and say, I'm leaving him alone and, I'm done with him and yada, yada, yada. I think she would need a lot of support around her to kind of be consistent with that because, like I shared with you guys in my last video, I get the impression that Chrisean relies on BlueFace for like her well-being, her moral support, and also like, so to speak, like I'm your savior. And I think that Chrisean and BlueFace feels that way about the situation. So I think that in order for her to seriously let go of him, she has to understand that her life would go on, which means making money and being popular and doing everything that she does without him. But I think that she don't think that's going to happen. And I think he feels like it ain't going to happen without me. So that is the attachment there. It gives me so much of a Stevie J and Jocelyn feel because I never forget. Jocelyn used to get on my nerves. She used to get on my goddamn nerve the way she used to pick on Mimi. Why am I digging up my nose? What's going on in this damn review? And all of that. But, so I had like a, oh girl, shut up type of feel towards her. But then when I would see her like with Stevie and the way they engage, I could tell that Stevie had her believing like I saved you and I'm the one helping you and I'm doing everything for you and with you. Nobody cares about you but me. So, she felt like in debt to him. And because of that, she just would allow all these things that she know deep down is like, I don't like this. I don't want this to go this way. I don't think this is good. But I'm allowing it because I quote unquote, he's all I got. And I think that that's how Chrisean feels. I think that her having to imagine her life without BlueFace would make her sad and depressed and she would go into that heavily emotional state. So for her, she just rather put up with his BS and have temper tantrums but stay with him because that's really where she wants to be, right? I think that detaching from BlueFace would be harder for Chrisean than detaching from her fucking tooth. Like she really is in it and is very much invested in it, right? But she does pop a lot of junk when things happen because I think she knows that what she's settling for is a damn shame. But in any event, she was saying at the moment he was trying to be friendly because what unfolded on social media and the back and forth tweets between them, and she said they've been beefing. They got kicked out of hotel room. She has caused, big scenes, which is pretty much what I see as her style when the things happen. So what it looks like is they go through stuff, right? He does things that he knows is going to push her buttons. She constantly has an emotional reaction when her buttons are pushed. And then it's almost like, no, I'm sorry, baby. Don't be mad. Stop it. Don't get upset. But you just did 40 things prior to that you knew would upset me. So it's done intentional because for whatever reason, that emotional reaction does something for him. And for her, she knows no other way to respond because she's so emotionally entangled with him. So she said it just got ugly and so on and so forth, right? So while she's talking to this person, finally she was like, okay, I'm going to hang up, right? When she hangs up, her stylist, which I just found out this episode that his name is L, and I was like, oh my God. He walked in and he had got her some flowers. And when he gave her the flowers, of course she was having like an emotional reaction, her thing. And he was like, I know you just been going through a lot lately with the reality show and everything. So I just want to do something to make you smile. And I'm like, oh, looking at him like, come on now. Good friends matter. Good friends matter. Good friends matter. Good friends matter. And the fact that he knows, like, listen, I know I can't take away what BlueFace does or how he treats you or whatever y'all going through. I just want you to know that you're still loved. And this is my way of showing you that. So that was so nice. That was so nice. I'm looking at Elle like, oh, you're such a good friend. Right? I was a little concerned about him being her stylist. Okay. Anywho, that was nice what Elle did. So Remember, during this time, she's still in the hair salon getting her hair done. So while she's getting her hair done, it says that she received a surprise visitor. And when a person walked in the door, she got all crazy, like, oh my God. And then it said under the screen that this person was Lala Milan. Child, I am clearly living under a rock in ancient, like, BC times, because I did not know, and still to some degree, just only from what she was saying, I could get the gist of who Lala Milan is. But who the hell is Lala Milan? So I was like, okay. But apparently, she's like a comedian and an influencer, and Chrisean really likes her. So she was like, oh my God, make me laugh, and so on and so forth. But she was excited to see her, and some dialogue started between them. What I did like about Lala was in those moments, she did a lot of uplifting without doing any judging or bashing or any of the things that most people do when they see Chrisean. Most times I see when anybody sees her, like even when she went to Diddy party, it was like you trying to give her a big hug to show her like, I love you and you don't have to take this and you don't have to deal with this and it's somebody out here that would treat you better and don't let anyone in. I appreciated that Lala was more speaking to her in a sense that, listen, do you, but don't lose yourself in a process of doing you. I'm not speaking about BlueFace. I'm not speaking about anything y'all went through directly. She didn't even bring his name up. What she did say was like, the Hollywood lifestyle just as a whole can sometimes consume you and turn you into somebody else. And she was like, when you're getting out of sorts and you're not yourself, I just want you to know that I love you and it's going to be all right. Just don't let this take over you. So I really, really, really could appreciate how Lala poured into her, because I think she's so busy getting treated like the baby and the victim that folks are not really giving her areas where she can grow. Because I felt like that, like I told you guys in the last episode when everybody was jumping on BlueFace and she's kind of just standing to the side like a little baby that everybody is like, taking up for. And granted, I think she needs guidance and I think that she does need to be advocated for, but I also think that she needs to be an advocate for herself. She needs to be an advocate for herself, and there's no way that she's going to step into those shoes if every time something happens, everybody keeps making it seem like the world is just happening to Chrisean. No, Chrisean is a willing participant in all of the things that are taking place in her life right now and for the rest of her life, should these things continue. But again, back to Lala. I really appreciated Lala's approach because, again, she didn't start talking about BlueFace and all that. She just was like, listen, don't let this world consume you. Be yourself, baby girl. You beautiful and you got this. So she poured into her in a way that Chrisean needed, right? And I enjoyed that. What I did like... What I did like and I was so excited about, and shout out to Lala. Lala was like, girlfriend, where is your tooth? She was like, the thing I liked about her asking about the tooth is that she didn't, again, it didn't come from a judgy place. It didn't come from a girl you dead wrong place, which is, I'm not going to lie, that's the place I'm coming from because it gets on my nerves that the tooth can be out and in whenever you choose. But anywho, she was more so coming from a place, and she said this, presentation for the most part in the world we live in is everything, and you're beautiful when you have your tooth in. But what I loved about it was Milan was able to get some feedback about where the hell is this tooth. So Chrisean did admit that she lost the tooth, and she was like, I'm going to get it back, and so on and so forth. And it was like, okay. Yes. So Milan was like, yes, where's your tooth? She was like, I lost my tooth. And in my mind, I'm looking at her like, girl, before she said it, I'm like, what if this girl just backed the goddamn tooth out the Daisy Duke she had on? Chrisean, if you would have yanked that tooth out of one of them side pockets, I would have turned my TV off, my lights off, closed my bedroom door, and canceled my Zoo subscription. Done. Girl, you walking around with the tooth in the pocket? So I was kind of relieved to hear that she lost the tooth, but she does have a goal to kind of get the tooth back. hopefully, because she comes across very confident without the tooth. I know some people, when they don't have a front tooth, they kind of talk like this, or you see them kind of doing things like this. No, Chrisean is just loud and proud. Bam, I don't need my tooth. I'm here toothless and all. No, sweetheart, we have to put all the furniture in your living room. That's not cool. Right, so then my girl, she left, and I was like, okay, that was a nice interaction I got to see. It made me want to know more about Lala Milan. Right, and in the next scene, Chrisean L and BlueFace are headed to the nail salon. So BlueFace has resurfaced. So I'm like, okay, it seems like they were cool. They went into the nail salon, and this scene kind of lets you know that Chrisean does have, to some degree, it in her. It's just like I said, she's so hung up on this young man that it's hard to pull it out of her, right? Because they went and they sat down. BlueFace started the conversation. Was like, so what an interesting family you have, So she started smiling, and he was like, they seem nice, because remember, he done knocked the pappy noggin off, and I had to bring him to the front of the congregation. So anyway, she was like, he asked her, he was like, well, what did you think about the Baltimore trip? And she said she felt like her family didn't see his perspective because they weren't willing to put themselves in his shoes. She said, but other than that, it was just some typical black ghetto shit. I think that Chrisean didn't feel comfortable advocating for BlueFace to her family because she knows that whatever is taking place between them is not right in her family's eyes. So she just kind of stood back and allowed it to happen. And at some points, especially when it got physical, she pretended like she wanted to, get involved. But really and truly, I don't think Chrisean wanted to get involved, because I think to some degree she likes that her family is there to advocate for her. She just don't want them to have no real smoke with him, because she's very much attached to this young man. Very, very much attached, and he knows it. He knows it. And in all fairness, I won't sit up here and say I don't think that he's attached, but I don't think that his attachment is sincere as hers. I think for her, she could spend the rest of her life with him, and all's well that ends well. I think for him, I'm attached because you're probably the first woman that we got money together. I know you're willing to do things to ensure that we continue to get this money because I have that much control over you. So I think that's where the attachment comes. I don't think it's genuine. I don't think it's sincere. And that kind of, it makes me feel sad for Chrisean because, when it's not genuine and when it's not sincere, I don't care how long it goes on, eventually it will crumble. So, he just was like, when she said that, I understood where she was coming from, but I think that things would have been different had she advocated for herself more in that moment to let her family know, like, I'm not a victim and I'm not being mistreated here. I'm in this and we're in this together. But I also kind of feel like even if she would have said that, the family would have like, Chrisean, go to hell, because they look at her like a little kid. So it's almost like, you don't know no better, so we got to step in for you. No, she's a grown woman and she needs to start stepping in and advocating for herself. But other than that, the conversation changes to the status of their relationship. So they both start asking each other, like, what are we to each other? What are we to each other? So Chrisean was like, we family. We family, And I could see that annoyed BlueFace because he likes for her to be under the wing. And if she's saying something other than like what she normally says, like, oh, you my baby and I love you. So because that annoyed him and he's 100% better at keeping his cool than she is, he was poking around to see what he could do to annoy her. Because he knows that I'm going to get more of a reaction out of you than right now you're getting out of me. So after she said they was family, and he was like, well, what was up with you leaking that sex tape? And she was like, what was up with you going viral with another bitch? And again, like I said, for him, he loves to antagonize the poor girl and then stand back and watch. I'm sorry, you guys, this ponytail irks me. I just finished working out, so I didn't have time to really get my head together. Anyway, he likes to see her lose her cool over him. So when she said back, like, oh, what was that about? She basically had her response, like, it was a response to what you did. And she was kind of keeping it together in that moment. That's what made me kind of have like a little bit of hope for her. But he knows that she's a jealous person. So he said, oh, I know how to poke at this bear. So he said, well, because she was unapologetic about leaking the sex tape, she was like, okay, well, I did what I did. And again, that annoyed him. So what he did was, oh, I know how to get you. You jealous. So he started saying how her leaking the sex tape, and, it just brought his stock up. And now everybody hitting him up for it. Now he the man. Everybody want him, and, all of the things that he knows will ignite fire in her. All right. So she's looking at him and she's trying to keep it together. And she's trying to give her little comeback about, yeah, well, I could say the same for myself. Niggas want to fuck me too. All of the things are trying to combat what he's saying. She's also trying to keep it together, right? And it just was very immature and manipulative. But again, he's the younger version of Stevie J. So, and that Stevie J formula, it worked for years for Jocelyn. It worked for years for Mimi. And I don't know, I'm not too up and close personal on him and Faith, so I can't say if it worked for her. But, motherfuckers will try. They will try. And guys like that doesn't go away. It just transfers on to a new girl when the last one catch on. So I think that, because even BlueFace's baby mother, I don't know her at all. I just see the little things she will be saying and things like that. And you could tell she's advocating for their relationship. Like, I mean more to him and he's my baby father and he's really with me. And I'm looking at that saying, why would you even be admitting that out loud when he's parading this other young lady around? But he's able to manipulate you as well, because to some degree, you have that Jocelyn needy thing in you. And if all of y'all was doing healing hearts, we would be able to identify those things. But anyway, the only thing that kind of got me was Chrisean presented like she was going to hold it together in that scene, and then she folded. So once she folded, she started saying things like, I love you, and you the best, and now he knows she's folding. So in order to further push her buttons, instead of him saying back like, I love you too, Rock, like he normally would, because he's annoyed, he's going to continue pushing the envelope. So he's saying things like, aw, that's sweet, that's nice of you to say. And of course, that's going to bother her because she wants that same energy that she's giving out reciprocated. She actually needs it from him. So he knew what he was doing. Then I couldn't hear good, and I turned my TV up as loud as it could go. I mean, it's a smart TV, it's blasting. I don't know what other way to do it, but what did he do? Oh, he said something which made her have like a mini reaction. I think it was something about him going to the bathroom and her saying like, no, I'm coming with you. Like, I didn't get it. But, I mean, I didn't hear it, so I kind of left that part alone. But then the next thing he did was he went outside and he was acting nonchalant, which, of course, is going to cause her to kind of say, like, baby, what's wrong with you? And, you're the only one for me. And, and he's getting what he wants in that moment because he knows how to get it. So I'm just looking at Chrisean like, I'm going to say this, right? You know how growing up, people would be like, oh, something about a guy being nonchalant to you and ignoring you, is like a turn on. For who? I always wonder, like, who is that a turn on for? Now, granted, do I need every man that likes me or wants to get to know me to sweat me to a certain degree? No, I think that treatment I kind of prefer from the main person I'm digging and I see a future with. But in any event, I never was turned on or stimulated by a man who ignored me or made me feel bad or tried to. No, that's why it was so crazy. It was like I always dated like the Casanova guys that could gas you up and, not Casanova the rapper. I mean, like, oh, Casanova, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, those type of guys who, so to speak, in some regard, they're like womanizers if you're not smart. I'm incredibly smart. But anyway, it's that same type of energy. So it's like, I'm you the moon and the stars, and my world revolves around you, and I need you, and I love you, and it's like, oh baby, how you gonna treat me that good? You just gonna talk that nice to me like that? I love you, marry me, yes, And again, granted, behind your back they could be kicking your back and talking about you crazy and cheating with your mama, but in your face they love you and show you so much respect and hold you in high regard that's a turn on for me. So whenever people would be like, oh, like I remember I was reading The Coldest Winter Ever, and Midnight was playing Winter Dust, and she like, yeah, I'm gonna get this nigga. I don't want that nigga. Like, I mean, you ain't gotta sweat me, but show that there's some interest back. So I never was into that. And I think with Stevie J, just as with BlueFace, they have the double-edged sword. Because I'm going to woo you enough to get you in, but then when I got you in, I'm going to dangle the carrot in front of you. And every single time I want to see you go crazy trying to get this carrot. When it's like, why would you want that when you should just give it to me? That would make me happy. Don't you want to see me happy? But again, whatever. That's neither here nor there, right? So they get in the car, ride over to the sunset. I think BlueFace said they was going to the club or something, right? The next day, it shows them in, I guess, what's their apartment or their home or whatever they rent, whatever they bought, whatever the case may be. They live together. Their pets is here. And Chrisean is prepping because she has court in Oklahoma City because apparently during the course of, I think, this year, she stole BlueFace's car and drove it across the country and yada, yada, yada. So I didn't get into the nooks and crannies of what that was all about. I just know that that was the reason why she was going to court and she had to fly out to Oklahoma City. So, they were having some weird interaction at that time because what I got from her was she was feeling like, yeah, at that time I did something you don't like, but now we're back good and I'm facing court, so you should be my ride or die and have my back and be there for me because we're past what I did. So come and let's be in love because I want to be in love right now. And he was saying that I love you and we are past, I am and you are, so we are past that situation, but that situation had consequences. And that's something that you have to handle on your own. And for me, I mean, this is not to take up for BlueFace, but that was logical thinking to me. Like, that's you, listen. And I feel like, again, he definitely is a manipulator and a womanizer, especially towards Chrisean. I won't say overall, but towards Chrisean because I haven't seen it with any other woman. But in that sense, I also felt like he was holding her to a higher standard. So he was trying to like, you know what? I got it. You remember he tweeted at the end of the last episode, I'm her daddy now. That's what that reminded me of. That's what that reminded me of. It reminded me because my own dad would be chastising me the same way. Like if I did something and it required a consequence, he would be kind of putting me in my place and showing me like, no, do you see how actions have consequence? Like the way he was handling her was like he was her father, which is, of course, what he needs because it feeds his ego and allows him to continue to womanize. So, okay, glad I could put that together. He needs healing hearts as well. But in any event, she getting ready for court. He's trying to comfort her about not accompanying her, but also letting her know, listen, this is something you did. You got to go and face the music. You need to be remorseful. And she like, be remorseful for what? He like, for what you did. Like, that's why you're going to court, to show them that, you made a mistake. Like, again, just really guiding and rearing her as if he was her father, right? BlueFace. Production. Come to the front of the penthouse. Come to the front of the townhouse. Come. I think that's what BlueFace and Chrisean. Come to the front of the townhouse. Come down here right on the lawn. Production, right on the lawn. Y'all are going to have to get some Proactive, some Neutrogena, some water, some rosemary water, some something for BlueFace's skin. Oh my God. And I think it looks worse because sometimes he gives you the face like he just woke up. So his hair doesn't look combed. And then he has very bad acne. And the reason why I know it's bad because it's not just bumps. It's like pus bumps. Like Production, why I got y'all here on the lawn in the front of the townhouse. What I'm going to need to happen is y'all going to need to help him either change his diet, get him a skincare routine. Zeus, come on, production, come on. Blueface, no. No, Blueface's skin does not look good. And I look at a young man like G Herbo, right? Who I call my nephew, and how his skin looks versus versus Blueface skin looked terrible. Blueface skin looked terrible, and we're on episode 3 of that. Blueface skin can go wherever Chrisean's tooth is. I do not want to see that. So y'all help that out. Y'all help that out. So then she's there like getting upset because he's saying you gotta step up to your responsibility. She's like, baby, but I love you. I need you. I'm not letting her. She just, she just turns into putty. But at the same token, she's saying because I'm leaving, let's go upstairs and have sex. And he like, okay, no problem. So they go upstairs, they have a quickie, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, they go upstairs and have a whatever. So then the next scene is her and L, who I said is her stylist and her friend. He's going with her. He's going to accompany her to court in Oklahoma City for this whole case with the car that she stole and yada, 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 right? So then they land. First of all, you could tell like that interaction that they had during the day before she left for court, it kind of left her in the lovey-dovey space. So every waking moment that she's outside of Blueface, she's calling him on the phone. Baby, I love you. Say you love me. Say it with the L. Say it with the O. Say it with the V. Say it solidly. Say it with your mouth. Say it with your ears. Say it with your eyes. Say it with your toes. And L is like... So finally, L couldn't take it. L was like, y'all love each other and ain't even one of y'all going nowhere. All that other stuff y'all be doing is BS. And you know what I noticed that she does? Again, because I think she knows that some of that is just not at all right. She would try to like clean it up because every time she's not around him and she's not on the phone with him, begging him to tell her how much he loves her and her reciprocating that, she's there like, saying like, I wanted to do this nigga really love me. He's really there for me and I don't think this is real. And, all this nonsense. And I was just like, girl, come on now. It has to stop. So I could see him getting a little annoyed for that, right? So now, anyway, they get on the flight. They fly to Oklahoma City. They get off the flight. Now she's back in the car, back on the phone every minute, calling him every second, yada, yada, yada. They get into the SUV to head to their hotel. And once she's calling him and they're talking on the phone, she finds out that he's in Vegas. Blueface loved to antagonize this girl. Now, in a regular relationship, if your woman goes out of town to handle business and you decide while your woman is away that you want to go hang out with your friends wherever that may be, and vice versa if your man is out of town and you're the woman, that's perfectly fine. Go ahead, babe, have fun. I'm handling business. Be safe. I'll speak to you later. Enjoy. But in this toxic relationship, that's not going to work. So the moment that Chrisean was made aware that Blueface was in Vegas and she was in Oklahoma City, it went up from there. It went up from there. It went up from there. Oh, you a weird ass nigger. Like, what do you like? It's just a whole bunch of yelling and screaming and cursing. And there he is once again on his Stevie J trying to comfort her and say like, oh, don't worry. I'm going to talk to you the whole time I'm out here and I'm not being weird. And you don't have to worry about that, baby. I'm not doing nothing. Look, I'm not doing nothing. But like I said, he's very manipulative. So while he's flashing the camera around to show her like, no, I'm just with my friends hanging out, you see some girls in the background. And of course, Chrisean would naturally pay attention to that because she thinks you're a cheating, lying whore. So the moment she sees these women and she states away, she's mortified. So she is there cursing him out and crying. He's there trying to say, no. I promise I'm going to stay on the phone with you all night while I'm out here so you can know I'm not doing it. Just a whole bunch of drama. And again, like I said, L, the stylist was Lord. So it went on and on and on and on and on, right? On and on and on and on, right? Hanging up on him, he's being weird. She's crying uncontrollably. It's back with that whole emotional reaction. It was just crazy, right? So I'm like, oh, God bless her. So now, hi Pookie. So now, it said, right? The relationship is just toxic. Anywho, the Vegas turned out to be a bust because it flashes to a like blank screen, and it says shortly after BlueFace's call with Chrisean, he was allegedly involved in an altercation where a man was shot outside a Las Vegas strip club. Blue was subsequently charged with attempted murder. So that night didn't go well. So anyway, that just was on the blue screen. I'm guessing Chrisean went to sleep. Blah, blah, blah. She woke up the next day because she had to go to court. But before she went to court, she went to visit with her attorney. So she goes in and she talked to her attorney. And the attorney was saying, from what she did, it warranted her 3 years probation. And if she pleaded guilty to it, they were headed over to the court to get the preliminary hearing waived and yada, 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 right? And she went over there. She did that with her attorney. They gave her a new court date, blah, 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 right? So she had some family in Oklahoma City, and she wanted to meet up with them because she was giving me a real fiend tease, about the weed every minute, getting angry and hostile, and I was like, oh, God. So she was trying to get some marijuana from her people that she had in Oklahoma City, so they ended up meeting up, yada, 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 yada. I didn't like. It was giving me too much of a crackhead vibe, like you needed to smoke, like I got these cheeseburgers, like it was giving me that whole scene from Menace to Society. I love your dick. Like I was over that. So I was looking at Chrisean like, Grizzly, you need a pipe? Relax. So that was irking me. But anyway, she got to smoke with the family. She kind of brought her nerves down, yada, 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 right? Next thing you know, she's on the phone, she's talking. She tweets something like, Lord, cover me. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, well, the court date seemed like it went okay. So what you need the Lord to cover you for? But anywho, then the next thing you know, one piece of uncontrollable hooting and hollering. Oh my God. Oh my God. When she goes into that point of hysteria where she's yelling and screaming and crying like that, a part of you feels bad because it's a real cry. Every time she do it, it's a real cry. Every single time. It's coming from the depths of her soul. So a part of you, if you are a human being, a part of you breaks like, God damn, something really hurt this girl. But then most times it ain't even real things. So it's like, girl, what the hell are you crying like this for? So like I said, she just gives me ED vibes. I'm sorry. I just think that that's what she just will do when the wind blows in the wrong direction. And that irks me. Because it's like, girl, you got to have that reaction when it's something real. But in all fairness to her, it could be real to her. What I will say is I will never know. I will never know. Because the girl started hooting and hollering. I said, did she get the information about BlueFace? Like, what happened to cause you to be going on like a kook like that? She never said, I really did not get it. They didn't show her on the front unless it was a part I missed. I really didn't understand what was the need for her to be screaming and hollering like that, like she had no goddamn sense. But she has that emotional reaction to so many things. You don't know what's real and you don't know what's not. But